guys. Good evening. So I want to talk for a moment about what the midterms mean for Trump and just the um, long term view here. So both on the fifth column made a great point that Republicans did bad because A, they lost a lot of people with the pandemic, and B, they lost a lot of people with the low. It was low voter turnout due to the abortion stuff and other things they pushed. That and I've talked about how vote for me and I'll take away these rights. You know, Montana, Kansas, I think it was 2 or 3 other states that pretty much Trump did bad. These Republicans did bad because of that. So obviously I've talked about it here before about how Trump put forward clowns, and those clowns didn't do too well, and how we shouldn't. The Democratic Party and people that are leftist minded should not take victory from clowns losing. Because I'm not even sure if this really was an election on the issues as much as it was an issue. It was an election based on the culture war, Trump inserting nonsense, and clowns being clowns. Herschel Walker, Mehmet Oz, and others, and just outright fascism like this Mastriano fellow up here, just straight up fascism. And I'm hearing Mastriano may never again get another a GOP recommendation. That's a beautiful thing. They did kill a lot of their people with COVID. And I want to be careful saying it because I'm not celebrating that. The public health emergency of 2020 was tragic. And a lot of people died. A lot of people even now are facing post-COVID symptoms that they may never get to smell back. They got fatigue. People who, the runners, that they can't even walk around the block now, and things of that nature. And that's sad to me. And it should be acknowledged for what it was, that it was a president that let Americans die for political points. I think he made a gamble. And I'm going to say something I don't hear any scientists or doctors anywhere saying, is that Trump took a gamble with American lives. And that gamble in the end didn't pay off. It could have paid off. COVID could have went away. I mean, Obama had swine flu and it went away. Obama had, the Ebola situation. It went away. And, thank God, Ebola could have been a lot worse. They had that ambulance that he rode in. They kept riding around for 2 weeks in Dallas. After that guy was in the ambulance with it. The idea, it was in his eye, was hiding, it's terrifying to me. Whether it be that Ebola, or whether it be that strain of Ebola, or whether it be COVID, we're dealing with a time where disasters can occur by viruses that can hide in the body. I'm gonna say HIV, kind of like that's quite terrifying, and we're living in a new paradigm, a new horizon of infectious disease, and that's terrifying enough that things can. I mean, COVID is respiratory, but it can mess with the cells and mess with your red blood cells. It's very terrifying the more we learn about it. But Trump, other key Republicans making a joke of COVID, making it about attacking China instead of it being about the disease itself. Definitely got a lot of people killed, definitely. And I will always say this, whether anybody wants to agree with me or not, COVID to me was a case of negligent homicide. Trump's actions were criminally negligent. The fact that he was briefed and he did nothing for 2 months, and then to turn it around and make it about China, it's like a child almost getting caught doing something you shouldn't be doing and then blaming it on the dog or something. You're blaming it on the child is blaming knocking over the glass of milk on a dog because a dog can't talk. A dog can't make his case, right? And there's nothing China can say to a third of the country that'll make them agree. China made some mistakes too, no doubt. But there's a third of the country that's already like, they're our enemies. And they're going to try to create this to hurt us. And they're going to try to do this to hurt the country. So their actions killed a lot of people. When they talk about the election being fraudulent or the election being fake or, actions being taken to influence the election, I think that should be remembered, that you got people killed. And those people, those old people that died, could have made a difference in a lot of these cases. Especially Georgia ran off with Warnock and Herschel Walker. That could have been decided. It was close. Very close. And this is another part of what I call disaster capitalism. That people on the bottom, poor people, elderly people, people that are working out in fields and stuff like that, will die first. Because none of our lives matter. And so, they will die first because we don't have a system in America that values the lives of working people. People on the bottom, people with debt, people that are in and out of jail, those people will die first with these emergencies. I just heard recently that Trump's kids want nothing to do with him if he runs for president. Jared, that's the son-in-law, and the daughter, Ivanka, I believe, they don't want to run again. And I've talked before on here about if Trump was to run again, who would he run with? And I've talked about how I don't know, because, and I said when he was in office that as he was firing people were quitting and being fired left and right, that he would wind up with fanatics. Now, fanatics are good because fanatics don't have a long-term viewpoint or anything. They're like, all right. They're like Goebbels. They're fanatical to the very end. But the bad thing with fanatics is they won't say no. Like, they won't have the arguments and the discussions that should be had on the level of the executive. Because on that level, you've got important questions. You got important decisions to make. And sometimes there is no right answer. Sometimes you're picking the best of the worst. West Wing had quite a few situations in that show where there was no good answer. No good solution. And you might say that's because of the stuff America's already done, but whatever. When you don't have people who hold you accountable on that level, and people that are going to check you and, make you be the best you can be, then you're going to fail. And Trump not only was firing people to get rid of people, he was also talking about how he wanted to set it up where he'd go to jail. I watched something today. He talked about how he loved the people that whistleblowers and all that, people that worked for him and reporters. They're going to find out they're going to be married to a man in a couple of days, which is homophobic, because what he's saying there is being gay is tantamount to being raped. That you should be, that basically, like, the average man that hears about gay marriage should feel like they're going to want to rape me. That's what he's saying there. He says, they're going to go in there, they're going to get married to the biggest, strongest man. That's just, the way I heard it was they're going to make friends. They're going to be raped in prison. These are the same Republicans who think homosexuality is a sin, but for people they don't like, they're openly joking about having men raped. There's no morality with these people. And the Bible, the Christian religion, is just simply weaponized. Anyone looking at it can see that very clearly now. That's what he said. So people don't want to work for you. And his family don't work for him, which is a good thing. People were talking to MSNBC about how when he's putting forward bad ideas, these are people that could calm him down. That's bad. And they were talking about how nepotism is wrong. I learned that in college. I mean, I'm nobody. I'm nothing. And I understand nepotism is unethical, but that's what you do when you're a fascist. Because when you're a fascist, you're not trying to put forward the best ideas. You're trying to maintain power. And the way to do that is to have people in power that you control. You don't want to have it where you've got people in there who are like the best, that you disagree with on certain issues, who might go to the media or whatever. You want to control. So you bring your daughter, you bring your son-in-law, or the folks you directly control. I knew that then, I knew that in the beginning, So, it isn't a week that goes by that I don't catch a new interview. Mark Esper, people like that coming out and saying he used the military for everything. He can't read. Mark Esper said they used to have briefings where they would have his name on every paragraph, so he'd read them. How they would have PowerPoints where they had like pictures and stuff because his attention span was it was so low, it was so short. These are his cabinet people, secretaries of state. The vice president, Pence, doesn't want to be reelected. Trump's got nobody that worked for him that would run with him again, other than the fanatics. William Barr came out and said it was the election fraud stuff was a joke and quit. I believe if Trump runs again or doesn't run again and it doesn't work, I don't think that this means what the left thinks it means. The left thinks that we're winning, we're successful. I don't think so. I think the Republican Party, is run by clowns. And I think that that's what this means. The midterms are simply representative of that, they're clowns. That there's pedophiles hiding beneath every bed, and there are pedophiles in every bush, and like the Chinese are getting ready to take over, and like it's like boogeyman rhetoric stuff. Like, I think it's getting kind of old now. There was a woman in Knoxville, I think, Tennessee, that did a school board thing. She was like, "We don't hate gay people." She was like, "They take care of our kids. We know them." Like, I think people are getting tired of this stuff, and the midterm basically represented that you thought you could just run up there with clowns, and you could run this tired old same old culture war crap, and didn't work. What happens when you're talking about people and you're saying in essence that you believe that the people who support this type of stuff are like scum of the earth, and that good people will vote against it, and the stuff you're talking about doesn't work? At some point, you're calling average Americans scum. And I think they're at the point now where they're at war with average Americans. Their policies are indicative of hate. Hate, pure and simple. I think he doesn't win. He doesn't run again. I think that this will be tantamount to the NASCAR, to the racing car running out of gas. You can have the best driver, best pit crew, but sometimes cars run out of gas. Sometimes cars pop tires, pop multiple tires. Sometimes cars getting wrecks. Sometimes, things happen. And this is the reality of the Trump presidency. And I just, if he doesn't run again, people are going to say, "Oh, good, he knows, the right knows, we turned the page." No, we haven't. None of this means anything about democracy. If you think that Herschel Walker losing, or if you think that John Fetterman winning over Dr. Oz means something, I live in Pennsylvania. I've seen one Fetterman sign. One. I didn't know what the sign even looked like till the other day. If you think these people losing means something, you're a fool. These are clowns. These are people who don't have a cohesive message. They don't have a clear message. They don't, these are people from the Handmaid's Tale. These are those kind of people, and they weren't wanted. If you had Republicans who were serious, who weren't props, agitprops posted up by the Trump people, you might have had a better chance. So I think that the reality of it is the Trump stuff it's running out of gas. It really is. For listening.